Hello, how you doing today, guys?
How you
Welcome
guys
to
doing?
Sunday night show. My brother's keeper. I'm the host, Dr. Wade. We're going to be talking about some men issues tonight. I want our audience to be tuned in on our thought process and how we want to uh, make sure that the information gets out, that how we can become more than just survivors as men, fathers, brothers, friends, neighbors, colleagues, co-workers. So we have a plethora of things we want to kind of discuss and bring into the mix of uh, being more established as men, doing things differently, married and or single, being with your kids, not with your kids. All these things are important topics we want to talk about to kind of continue to build on tools to get us in a place of healthy living, to have a good output on that. We're going to talk to an up and coming author as well, Mr. Fields. Marlondos Fields is going to talk about his new book is coming out. Some of the topics are really that we're going to talk about is going to be in that direction of his book. So we're going to be highlighting some things as we go through our topic tonight that is in his book to kind of help things kind of balance. So give us an understanding. If you get this book, it'll help you to hopefully relate to life as you know it, to bring about some solutions and possible change. So we thank you guys for coming out tonight, being a part of this panel discussion. Go ahead and introduce yourselves as we get ready to launch ourselves into this audience ear so they can give us feedback as well. We welcome the audience to chat with us, give us feedback, give us some thoughts so we can begin to look at things in different ways. If we are off topic or off kilter with things, put us back on track. If you like what we're saying, put us back on track with giving some feedback and some exciting news that, hey, that matched what I was feeling at that moment. So, guys, go ahead and introduce yourself. Welcome tonight. Thank you for joining us.
Already.
Brother Roberts.
Hey, Dr. Wade, how's it going? Everything good over here.
Go ahead and introduce yourself. Tell us what you do.
My name is Carl Roberts. I'm the owner and CEO of Rise and Elevate. Rise and Elevate is my brand. It's a motivational movement to promote positivity where it's no negative nothing in our communities here in Fort Worth, Texas.
Good deal. Glad to see you here today. Mr. Underwood, Mr. U, Dr. U.
Gotta unmute my mic first. That might help. Hey, how y'all doing tonight?
Doing great tonight, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm glad to be on. I think I missed the last one, but I'm recovering.
Good deal.
But
Tell
yes,
us a
I'm
little
glad
bit
to be
about what
here.
you do.
I'm a author. I'm a public speaker, and I'm an influencer here in DFW. And also, I'm a wardrobe stylist, photographer, and event producer, host, and under my brand, Mr. U's Closet. So, yeah, I do a plethora of things.
All right, good deal. You don't have an author, a new author's coming in, Mr. Fields. Tell us a little bit about you, Mr. Fields.
How you doing? Marlondos C. Fields. I'm as I say, a new author. Name of my book is When I Look Back. I'm also a motivator. Name my company is Yesterday's Tomorrow, which is a traveling African American museum. I also have what is called FACES, Fields African American Center of Education and Study. That is my Marlondos Jr. That is his the mobile library, and then my daughter Bailey. We have Bailey's Boutique. She's more like the gift shop of everything that is done, that is made between us as far as a family as a whole and those closest to us.
Right. Okay, good deal. Glad to have y'all on board today. Again, my name is Dr. Wade. I'm a clinical social worker. I work with people with mental health issues, families and or individuals, some teenagers, substance abuse issues as well. We talk about change. We talk about the impact of utilizing God as a resource, as the number one go-to within ourselves as we're about to change our lifestyles, change our impact on the direction we go in. So most definitely we focus on solutions. We're looking for great outcomes with the people that we serve in the community throughout this world. I do a lot of telehealth uh, therapy as well, which helps me to reach people from around the globe. So we thank you for allowing us to be in your living room today. Please join in by chatting with us as we talk about subject. First thing we want to talk about, if you will, we'll talk about the insight that we have. What do you think about men? Do you think men struggle with relationships, divorce, or maintaining fatherhood in general? Do you think men struggle with that? And if so, tell me why you think that's so.
I think, of course, they struggle. Uh, the reason I'm saying that they struggle because it kind of depends on their upbringing too. If they don't know, you know,
Okay.
if they don't know about, the relationships and marriages and things of that nature.
Okay. Let me make it more in tune with us individually. All of us are fathers possibly on here. So do we struggle with facing relationships, divorce, around maintaining fatherhood with our children? Do we struggle with it? Let's make it personal then, because I'm a divorced person, divorced male, and I think sometimes I struggle with co-parenting. I struggle sometimes with listening to my children's mom. I think I struggle with wanting things done my way versus how she may parent. We have two different houses and we're parenting differently. So I struggle sometimes with that aspect of understanding what they're doing is not what I may necessarily be doing in my house. And can I be okay with that? I have to learn to be okay with her different parenting styles, with how she may um, respond to uh, the teenager versus the adolescent, the 9 year old, and how they may respond to different things that they may need or want at that time. My thoughts are different. My bringing up with a single household with a mom only, dad not being, I had to learn how to be the man that I am today and become ownership of my issues, dealing with my shortcomings or my defaults of character, and bring those things to light and talk about those things to my kids, let them know that the kids are not the only people that make mistakes. So sometimes I struggle with that, maintaining consistency as I know it. What about you guys? Have you struggled with some aspects of manhood, dealing with being in a relationship, being single, being a co-parenter, being a father in general?
I don't like to say it. I don't like to call it struggle.
Okay, use a different word then.
I don't like to call it struggle. I like to call it like lessons learned, lessons
Okay.
learning, balancing communication, learning as you go. I mean, because not only is every child different, every parent is different too. And like you said, depending on how they was raised, 9 times out of 10, that's probably how they gonna take to raising their kids if they're not open to suggestions or the option of co-parenting. Some parents feel like they know it all and they feel like what they do is or what they know is best. It might not be true, but I think sometimes it's a lack of communication. But as far as like a struggle, I
Mm-hmm.
think it only becomes a struggle if you're not willing to come to some type of agreement or some type of balance. If you're just there thinking like my way, my way, my way, of course it's going to be what you call a struggle. But even with that, I mean, you learn how to adjust and adapt to people. So raising kids is such a big thing, man. Because like I said, you got not only balancing the personality and the involvement of the kid, but you got to sit here and deal with the emotions of the co-parent. So it's a lot.
Okay. What do you think there, Mr. Roberts?
I think it kind of depends on the maturity. It depends on the maturity, especially if you're in like two different households. You know, and whoever the kid stays with. If mom, she's not, there in the mind, then it kind of makes it hard on the man where he might get frustrated. Frustrated because he knows going household. So he kind of want to bring it to his household and
Okay.
make a difference, in the kid's life. That's what I.
Okay. I can say that. What do you think, Mr. Fields?
I agree with everything they said. I mean, like it's I have 5 kids, and I this last two set right here, my 2 year and 4 years different. So I mean, being able to go through some of the things on the upbringing and how they are. It's kind of what led into for us me doing my book is the difference, the night and day, the Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde, the unforeseen. All of a sudden, that's what I had to, me personally, is what I had to deal with. And you come from an abusive household, you know there are people that want to break that.
Right.
So it could go for us both ways. For instance, me, I was best friends with a switch. You know what I'm saying? I was real good close friends with a switch, and so I that's not something I dare to for us to do. You know.
My discipline tactics most definitely has shifted or changed as a parent versus being a child raising up in a household where the corporate punishment was one of not the first thing probably was implemented, but was a tool that was implemented to help change behaviors. What I understood as a therapist, even now, even as a parent, is that corporate punishment should be a last resort. If anything used of all, it should be more of a coercive thing to get a child to begin to respond. But also, as an adult, talking to another adult, I need to know that corporate punishment could be yelling, screaming, talking down at, being abusive in certain languages. And those are last resorts. What if at all should be used to get your point across or get your voice being heard? Society has, I don't know if it has an expectation on us or not, but sometimes I think it's a difference in how we think roles are with men and women when raising children, as well as being in a family setting or even trying to co-parent. It can be totally different in how we see things. And I think that's one of the key things we have to look at. What do you think is so of a learned life lesson, something that has been something that you face that has been difficult to maybe overcome as being a single parent?
I think if I could have did anything different, I would have built more of a relationship long term with the co-parent. Like I would have took time for us to get to really understand each other's emotions and love languages and uh, you know uh, upbringing styles and all of that thing. It's like it's a whole nother thing. It's like having kids out of wedlock or having kids without being married. I've done that before. So if I could, I would just do that probably different. Like look into getting married first and really creating that foundation to kind of like I guess subside some of those struggles. Um, yeah. I mean, and that's a lesson learned. I mean, because it's like having that firm foundation for children is so important because they see it too, and it becomes this whole trickle down effect. So I mean, that's what I would have did different. Just
Yeah, I like
get more
that.
of a
I think that's most definitely highly important to know. There's a right way, I think, that's more established in bringing about the change looking for in the relationships to build healthier interaction and communication so that everyone is impacted in a healthy way.
yeah.
Sure. So, what do you guys think, Mr. Roberts, Mr. Fields? What do you think?
Here you go.
I,
Like I said before, everything Mr. You had said sounds beautiful. It sounds real good. But when you're dealing with what happens when you deal with a shift in the weather,
Uh
a
huh.
storm that popped up that you did not see for us coming. It's a nice and bright sunny day in I don't know wherever you want to pick, Bahamas.
But sometimes that's not right. Because sometimes kids change the dynamic of a relationship. Like the
I ain't
relationship
talking.
keeps increasing, and then when you have a kid to bring a kid in the mix, the energy changes, or it might be one of the parents' first child, and you know what I'm saying. And it's just the whole expectation, the whole reaction, the whole thing is like it kicks in or it changes or it shifts. It's like, what do you do then? And it was something unexpected or whatever. I mean, I think that's so big. Like, because as an adult, you still learning yourself too. You still learning things, right? And then life happens, and then what do you do?
I think the shift of life happens is that what I think I heard Milano's actually saying is that when it does happen, when no life happens, what are these um, what are these changes that we do to make sure that we respond better to it than we have done? Because I want to be able to not duplicate the poor choices, but to reinvent new choices to make. And one thing I've done, I've gotten closer with God. I've gotten my thought
Absolutely.
processes more conscientious with what repentance is, what is surrendering, and what is sacrifice. And when I put myself in a better place and who I know my Lord and Savior is, that aspect of dating with a purpose comes into mind. That aspects of premarital sex come into mind, that we want to make sure that, hey, these things are off the table, these things are on the table, so we can what, not compromise our newfound love, relationship, our likeness of each other, so that we can have a healthier interaction, right? As soon as
Right.
we compromise, cross those lines, those doors open for conflicts more so than we think, because we have no commitment to each other, right? There's no commitment when we're dating. We have a child, or we sexually involved, or we sharing finances by paying a bill here and there. There's no commitment there. It's just an expectation that's very unrealistic,
Right.
right? Which damages men just as much as it does women. But we're looking at
I mean,
men tonight.
even in marriage too.
Go ahead.
I mean, even in marriage. I mean, you
Okay.
can be married
Tell me about
and
the marriage. What you mean?
you can be married and going through the different demographics of like a divorce and kids are involved, right?
Yeah, I agree. Because we probably got married in the wrong season of where we should be at: maturity,
Mm.
growth, develop, change. Um, I got married out of duress, I felt, because my ex-wife was pregnant. She had a child, and we were going to church together, we're living together, and people say, "Hey, this don't look right. This don't look right." So my thinking was very um,
Right. Clouded a little bit.
persuaded to
Oh, okay.
go get married, and hey, yeah, it got clouded, and I didn't think that it was the right season for me, but I did it anyway, right?
But
So it ended up in
you
the
letting other people make decisions for you instead of what's right for y'all household or
yeah,
y'all.
most definitely. And I could have just, okay, we're not going to live together and kind of just still co-parent it, things like that. But I felt this sense of what's this, accountability or responsibility for someone, which I've learned that's not always probably never a good thing to take upon anyone. Be responsible for someone else's emotional stability is not my responsibility. Even my
That's a
children, I want them to be happy, but I can't be happy for them.
that's a major key right there.
Right? That's that shift
Major key.
that I had to understand and look at. So we're looking at this emotional impact that fathers have, that sometimes we get out of these relationships with the mothers that we have children by, or the people that we dated over a period of time in our life, and it becomes a mixed emotional bag of whatever that we don't know what to do with. So we grow older, a year, 2 years, 3 years pass, with a lot of baggage. I think Mr. Fields talking about in his book, when he looks back and how all these things began to happen in his early years, and how he had to learn how to deal with them. Is that
Right.
kind of how your book kind of started? Tell me a little bit about how that book is starting out and talking about, when you look back, what really was impacting you versus what caused you to change.
I mean, like I said, the book. I mean, it was all beautiful roses, sunny day, and then all of a sudden, there was a change. You think you kind of know someone, and then when that change that happened, there was a lot of other force dynamics. There was other explosions that was help that alter and change the what eventually had me to like, what, I need a therapeutic wise, um, write a book about it. I think I should write a book about this, a movie, a play, or something, because I cannot believe that this was happening. And especially when it's like when I'm gonna say I was all in 100%, 1,000%, and then you find out for the other person, you know. Like I said, just change, just shift things. Then I turn around and what I really do appreciate and like is how it forms me as a man to definitely think about for us how I'm moving, because I can't just turn around and just put it all for us on the other individual. I do have a choice. I do have a say so as well as myself. So as I grew and as I come to understand what has happened and where things are now going to be going, my walk, my faith, and what I do, and especially the co-parenting part. I have my kids. We went to court. It was definitely for us nasty, um, and everything that was in between.
So what kind of change were you experiencing? Can you give some examples of what that change was that you experienced to say, okay, then this happened?
Well, I mean, my being out of line with God, being out of line with
Okay.
God, it brought me this whole experience brought me more to God. Like in my synopsis about, how I was, for those times I had to cry myself was asleep and things was that nature. It was real. It did this whole situation did a whole lot to me. Number one, the things that you hear about single women or women mothers, it gave me a outlook on it. If you ever wanted to know what it's like, if you ever knew a woman that went through a real bad divorce, had the kids, the father was this, the father was that, didn't want to do this, the father made it hard, the whole nine things. If you want to know what it's like from a woman's point, from a male with a woman's point of view, read my book.
Mm.
read my book. And like I said, it was a lot of things that me being who I am, there was a lot of things I had to fight for as myself. The crying wasn't crying of like I'm afraid or anything for that nature. The crying was me knowing who I am and what I can do. I had somebody, my brother, we were talking one day on the phone. He said, "Hey, man, you know what power is?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "Power is knowing that you could, like I said the other day at the event, knowing that you could do a Thanos and make it all for us go away. But that doesn't make it biblically for us right. Or I'm basically handling it how you want to do,
Mm-hmm.
an eye for an eye or anything for that nature." That's where my faith force came in at. And in the beginning, it was really, really hard because of how I used to walk and how I used to do things. I can't do
Right.
that no more. I can't do that. And it was like I cannot believe, you know, all this is coming at me, and I'm not doing anything. I'm not doing anything wrong. I'm not gonna say something trying to say like I was perfect, but it was like no weapon that was forming was coming against me.
Right. I like that mindset. What I want to think about is this for all of us to kind of think about it, give input. We all had that time, I think, when we look back. What did you think was that place that caused you to say, you know what, it's time to make change happen today, right now? And because this is going this way, this is going this way, this is going this way. I remember, I think for me, I was on drugs and alcohol really bad, and I had to do something. I was going to die in the midst of the disease, right? And it was that turnaround moment, probably going to jail, and that got me off the streets, right? And it got me into a place I could get cleaned up and sobered up and got set free from that addiction. My life changed because there was something that caused me to get my mind clear first. Then I can break free of those other things that were attaching toward addictions, and I began to go in a narrow way. What I didn't focus on was relationships. I just focused on the addictions, right? The relationships still were unhealthy as I knew them because I still didn't know how to nurture myself nor nurture another person in my life. So I ended up not being in healthy relationship as I was growing. So I kept choosing unhealthy relationships to be in, which kept me what? Unhealthy in itself.
Mm.
And until I understood what that looked like and what that meant, I kept making wrong choices.
Mm.
I
Yeah.
mean,
I had to find a way to break the
with,
cycle. What about
uh,
you guys?
For me, for
with,
me, me, for me, that what changed me. It changed me because I was I was troubling, always in trouble, and I got married at a young age, so it changed me from having to. I swapped getting married, than going to the penitentiary. So I needed a change in my life. So I decided to get married at the time. I mean, I probably got married for the wrong reason, but it slowed me down. It
mm,
slowed me down and got me at the streets. So reason I got married, but then as it went on the first year of marriage, we end up having a baby. So now I'm going to another level. Now I got responsibilities to take care of, and now I have to take care of my responsibilities as a man. So fast forward, Then I got a second baby coming along. And then next thing you know, fast forward, it's 20 years in the mix. So I done been married for 20 years. And then as I go along in life, my mindset has changed. Everything's changed, and became a better man. So I started becoming a better man over time. And I was getting excited about that because I didn't know how to be a man myself at all. But it taught me through the marriage how to become a man and how to be a father, and how to be a better brother, a better uncle, better everything through, 20 years. And then actually after the 20 years, we actually did divorce. And then there go another whole story.
I understand that for sure, most definitely. What about you, Mr. You? What do you think? What was the thing that was a transitional point for you? You're on mute. You're on mute. Your mic on mute, Mr. You.
Am I on mute?
Oh, my bad. I'm listening to the other guys speak.
Oh,
We
Mr.
got
Mike.
somebody. We got somebody else on the interview.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Well, can you repeat the question?
We're talking about this aspect of we all have this point of looking back in our lives. What was that thing that caused you to say, okay, this is something now it's time to change? What was that transition phase look like for you? Because we want to know what got you from being.
When I realized most people don't care about the man emotions, it's like 9 times out of 10 within whatever the situation is, most people are going to take to the woman's emotions and comfort her and do all of these things, listen to her and everything. And 9 times out of 10, the man doesn't have that. He doesn't have that corner or that support system to help him sort through those things, right?
Okay.
So when I realized that, I mean, that's a true fact. I'm pretty sure like a lot of us probably experienced that. I mean, like just rallying around other guys, you try to build these safe spaces, you try to build these support and empowerment groups for men, and we all know it's a hard thing. So it's just when I realized like, hey, you know what I'm saying, like you have to step up to the plate because 9 out of 10, a lot of people don't care about the man's emotions in this situation. So you just have to do what you got to do.
Okay. Did anything in particular cause you to start looking in the mirror and say that your emotions were needing something different? And who did you turn to?
God.
Okay.
God.
Did God set a person in your life to help you with that understanding?
Man, just my brothers that I have now, like the guys who I, you know what I'm saying, the guys who I've built or the guys who we rally around each other. So we talk about those things, even though we all got different situations. We still try to, talk about these things to empower each other. So yeah, I mean, I've had mentors along the way, and I've had even though my father was never there, I still always had other men that I kind of looked up to or, gave me little pieces of advice here and there on what, being a man looks like or what, their experience, right?
Okay.
So, yeah.
Dr. Mason, how you doing?
And you could.
I'm pretty good, Dr. Wade. I'm trying to catch up with y'all. Sorry I'm late.
Glad to have you join us today. Welcome aboard to Sunday night program dealing with our brother's keeper. We have a panel of men talking about the aspect of change in men on a daily basis, dealing with married and single men in general, just talking about some general subjects about navigating through parenthood, co-parenting, dating, and things like that. I know you're a married man, right?
Has been.
Huh?
He's a has-been?
I'm a divorced man.
You're a divorced man.
Yes, sir.
So we're talking about some aspect of this transition and how we notice things within ourselves. And another tag I want to ask on the question for you guys that really discuss is this. Now that we've come out of that mindset of change, and this is some, Dr. Mason, you can kind of highlight for us, when we make poor choices today, how do we and who do we become accountable with so that we don't be alone in our thoughts.
Yeah. I think the first person that we have to learn to be accountable to is ourselves.
Ourselves.
Okay, I like that. Now, how does
Yeah.
that happen? Because we want to make sure the men that listen in understand what that process is. I know that it's something that we do, but how do we get there?
Honesty, by being transparent with ourselves, by looking at ourselves without making excuses, by looking at ourselves without making comparisons. Comparisons kill. And usually when we put ourselves next to somebody else, you're going to always have an issue one way or the other. So the best thing to do is to always talk to yourself about what's really going on in your thoughts that you don't usually speak out loud. I
Okay.
get in touch with my internal voice. I can also get in touch with my integrity to help myself do better than what I've been doing.
All right, I like that. Anyone else has some input on that?
Well, that's really good right there.
Okay, you like that? Mr. Roberts, you on mute?
I'm on mute.
Oh, I hear you now.
No,
Go ahead.
you're not.
Oh,
Because our audience want to know what are some tools that they can apply to help change their lives, right? So there's some steps in there somewhere that we're not talking or mentioning about. So I know that God is my source, but usually He send men and women in my life to help me to create this foundation approach to a change. And I have to be teachable enough to look in the mirror and confront the man that I don't want to confront because I've lived with him all my life. And why would I want to change all of this stuff that I usually like? I just don't like this one thing.
well, you got to kind of have a discussion with yourself, or have
Okay.
a discussion with somebody else. You know, it's ways that you can be mentored. You can go seek counseling. You know, they can kind of tell you because you always thinking you right and you're not taking accountability of yourself. But if somebody else help you see what you do is not right, then you can kind of transition to another you know,
Okay.
because you owe yourself that anyway. You owe yourself to get better. You really want to get better, you know, for raising your kids and getting better for yourself, you know. So I think you need to seek some kind of guidance.
I need to find someone who has some compatibility with me. And the one thing about vulnerability is that although men think that they are, I think men struggle with being vulnerable. I don't want another person, especially a man, knowing where I am emotionally, mentally, psychologically, physically. I don't want people to know that I am struggling with this, that, or the other, or having a hard time with this, that, because it makes us look labeled as something, maybe not strong enough, not good enough, not effective enough. So sometimes it's hard telling our stories until we get comfortable with our journey that we've traveled. Right? So we have to find ways to make sure that we're vulnerable to talk through it, even before we write it down and put it in a book or even sing about it or something like that. This life we live has been so transparent for us that it took us from being a person who dated a person, married a person, divorced a person, had a child by a person. Now we co-parenting with these ladies that we've had the relationship with, and we're still trying to figure out how to become or stay the man that we need to become.
So Dr. Wade, I
Yes,
want to
sir.
say on because you mentioned about finding somebody compatible because we have a fear of being vulnerable, don't want to be labeled, and so in my personal journey, the fear of being labeled was not external; it was internal. I was labeling myself, therefore, what other people said had a great effect on me. But when I learned how to write my own narrative, in other words, I had to go back into Alvin and say, okay, who are you? And then I got to stand on that. So I started making comparisons with what the word of God says I am in the finished work of Christ, not from the position of being a sinner. Okay. I had to approach it from the position of I am complete in him and he is complete in me. When I started writing the narrative from there, I got enough strength to stand on it so that when I go around people who like to put jackets on you because of what you've been through, because of what you've done, whether you're guilty or not guilty, somebody's always got an opinion about you. And sometimes those opinions are wonderful. Sometimes those opinions are terrible.
Sometimes they last longer than they need to last.
We tend to hold on to those things,
Mhm.
and then we allow them to define us.
Right.
We gotta get to a point where we are writing our own narrative. I know who God is, not because of what my daddy said. And my daddy was a preacher.
Right.
It has nothing to do with him. And I appreciate my praying grandmother, but my prayer life became what it is because of my own personal desire and my willingness to make the sacrifice to do that. So when we start writing our own narratives, it's easier at that point to be vulnerable first with yourself and be honest with yourself about why I do what I do, why I feel like I feel, and why I believe who I am. And so when I can do that for myself, it's easy to be vulnerable around other people. Very easy.
So do you think, as a panel, this may be open for all of us, do you think that sometimes men, us, who we've changed, we've grown, we've made these adjustments in our life, we've told our story, we've looked back and we've reflected, do we ignore red flags?
I think we do.
Yeah, we do.
I have. I've ignored the red flag.
I think we do a lot. Like some of us go, I know for me, for me coming up, it's a red flag if you like say you already married, the babies are already is in the world. Your kids are in the world, and then the red flags come. Then what are you gonna do then? What are you gonna do? You got responsibilities to take care of now. You can't put the baby back. So now you got to take care of that kid, even though the lady had red flags, you got to try to deal with it. You got to try to make it right. And us as men, we try to be the responsible ones, because we're mostly the disciplinaries. So we trying to discipline the kids so everybody can, have a better life for themselves, to educate the kids. We want to be
right.
Educate the kids so they won't go through, they would go through smooth through life. And the lady might have an aspect of, running the streets or whatever, or have you. You like, hold on, this is a red flag. But then you thinking to yourself, dang, what I got myself into. But then what you gonna do? Because you got to raise the kids.
You address the issue and don't just accept the issue. We look for answers. We think that since we're dating someone and we see the red flag, we took for. Well, I'm not married yet, so I'm not too far in to check a red flag. We think that we are because I love her, I like her, she this, that, and the other, or the kids are this, that, or the other, this job of this, that, or the other, this church of this, and we ignore red flags as if we have to stay or we have to endure it. But we can check it within ourselves and how it's approaching us to stop it from dominating our thought process so we become unhealthy again. I've been there, done that, and got t-shirts for it, right? I didn't address it when I needed to. So it affected a part of my life that I didn't want it to affect, and it took me out of my God zone, comfort zone, healthy zone, balance zone, and all these things become unraveling. When you wrote your book, Mr. Fields, did you talk about that aspect of any red flags that you had to deal with?
Yeah, there were a few red flags. Like I said, I did ignore the red flags, but then by the time I was done. I tried to do everything for what's right that I feel, and like I said, a lot of the red flags of interference that popped up. I was trying to work with it. I was trying to force compromise, be the bigger one, that type of deal. But of course, things still played out the way for as they played out. But it still had me, like the gentleman had said, turned. But then once it all was came unfolded. And when she said, "Hey, I want a divorce," another switch clicked on. And like the gentleman said, it was about taking care of responsibilities. And unfortunately, since she was taking us up out of the equation, it was about those that's with me that turn around to take care of. So me and the kids.
Right.
Okay. Go ahead and give us the name of your book and where it can be located and found at.
When I look back, right now it's on Amazon. I have some hard copies. ready for those that are interested. But yeah, I say right now it's on Amazon. It's it's on Amazon for $9.99, and then hardback copy is $19.29.
Okay, good deal. Well, we're glad to have you on board with us. Talking about when I look
Appreciate
back,
that.
before y'all get this book and read this book and see how it relates to you, and then share it with another person that can really benefit from understand how their path that they've traveled can bring them to a more of a free destination by doing some things different in their lifestyle. Most definitely.
Mr. Wade.
Yes, sir.
And if I could say anything, it's just, of course, it's my baby. Is what I feel, what I birth. This book has a lot of different twists. There's a lot of different twists about this book. A lot of different directions that this book went in. It's not just one thing. Now you have the church, you have family, you have friends, you have decision makings. It's really, this book is iron sharpen iron.
Okay.
And so there was some people that was there for me in the beginning. It's a different change of certain friends and certain friends that will come into your life, to help me raise moms up. And then once they swapped out, God allowed where another set force came in and helped me out as well. There's a lot of things I had to turn around and go through for myself. Ostracizing, being ostracized by those that you had no idea you would be ostracized by, family, friends, things for that nature. So this book isn't just one direction. I can promise you, this book will take you a lot of ways.
They got a question for you.
What's up?
Why did she want to leave or divorce you? What was that thing that caused her to want to get a divorce?
I would narrow it down to other family influences on her end.
The outside noise.
Yeah, the outside noise. I narrow it down to other influences. People playing both sides.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So I would narrow it down to that, and then there were other things. There were other snowball effects.
Got you covered.
Mm-hmm.
So do you think, as a panel of men, do you think that we can change women?
Heck no.
In some sort, you can.
Yes, you can. You can be a big influencer.
Yeah.
The word is change. Influence and change, two different words. But
okay.
Everybody say yes.
Can we change a woman?
That's the question.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say no.
I don't know.
I'm gonna say no.
I don't think so.
I'm gonna say no. I stand on it. No.
Okay.
All my chips.
I think just like men, they can want to change themselves. And then I've seen women put in effort to change, but then they just go right back to what they was.
Correct.
The answer would be no or yes for you.
I don't think so.
Okay, don't think so. What do you think there?
Since you made the differentiation that the word is change and not influence, definitely not.
Definitely not.
Hey.
So
you can look at it.
influence.
I know somebody's probably thinking like, "Oh, you can be the most perfect guy, bro. You can be doing all the right things, and you do that one thing wrong, bro.
That's a wrap.
And it is everything is a wrap. And you were doing all the things of all the things, bro. And then it's like you fall short and you do something wrong, bro. It's like I've been a victim of my emotions and everything was attacked. Like my whole everything would tear me down as a man completely because of one thing. Is like, bro, your expectation, you thought I was perfect or whatever, but you know what I'm saying? I don't think you can change a person. I think you have to have the desire to want to change yourself.
That's true.
Correct. Hey, look, all I heard was wheels rolling out the door. Roll. All I heard was wheels rolling through the house. And I was like, who the heck skateboarding the roller skate in the house? I was like, I said that to myself to like joke, but I know what rollers sound like on some luggage. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And I told him, I said, look, I stopped you the first time. We sat down, we talked. I told you the second time, I ain't got nothing to say.
Nothing to say.
So when the second time happened, I was like, you know what? Let me. All right, what's good? What's going on? I'm sitting there quiet, observing. Okay, you know, hey. And like I said, like Mr. You said, personally, I'm a toot my own horn. I laid everything out. There was nothing that you needed for to do. And then when kids came into the play, you know what I'm saying, I understood that. You know what I'm saying? I got a 31-year-old and a 32-year-old.
Bro, you
So
got
I tried to just do my part as a husband, as a man, to lay things out, to biblically the whole nine. So like I said, when she turned around, I don't know if it was still in the back of her head before. And like I said, she rolled out once. We sat down, we talked. I just let her know, look, I got bad knees. I don't run. So
Yeah.
you turn around, you do it again, deuces. And when it happened, I just sat there. The only thing that really threw me, honestly, is when she turned around and she said, I'll try to see the kids on the weekend. After that, another switch in my head turned on, and it was over with then. It was 100% over with. I totally, this might sound cold. I totally forgot that she existed.
Mm.
Because now it's
They
my
call that
new,
shutting down.
like you said, it's now my new but not my new responsibilities. My responsibilities have shifted to make sure that the kids was taken care of.
Yeah.
I, th-
You
I
know,
think I think you can. I think the woman can change if you change. I think
Carl.
I'm gonna shake my head.
I'm Carl,
This
all
is
people, I'm
I
surprised
ain't
you
somebody,
said that.
somebody next to you, bro.
This is research.
Somebody next to you with a gun. Somebody got a gun in your head, man.
This is
nah,
research on the
I
topic,
thought
though.
you went to jail. I thought you was body, baby. Well,
People don't change for people.
I knew it. I knew it. I knew it.
People don't change for people.
I know that's right. I knew it. I knew it.
Period. Matter of fact, go back to your childhood. If you grew up with a mom or dad, a grandparent, whoever in your house, neither one of us changed for those people.
That's right.
They gave us all these tools or directions. Whoever raised us, they gave us what they thought would be good information and guidelines, and we would not change for them. Now they taught us, but when they were trying to help us to not hang out with that group of friends or go down that particular path, we said, "Oh, I got this," and we snuck around and we did it anyway. We don't change for relationships. We change for ourselves in hopes to be the right person when we meet the other person for the relationship. Hopefully, they're healthy enough to bring in a healthiness in the relationship, and we have a compatibility that happens.
That's what I was gonna say. I definitely agree with that, Doc. Because I was thinking like cause we shed skin every day. I mean, we grow and we
Yeah.
learn things as we go. Like the stuff. I mean, what I know now, even what I'm looking for, in a partner now, is like I wasn't on that when I was, 20 years ago. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying, or 10 years ago, right? I've learned so much now. So it's like I think even though the fact that we can't change people, we can change ourselves, and then when we change ourselves, we're able to be more conscious and intentional with the people that we select to be in our lives,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
And
yeah.
now that I have that discernment, and now I've been through those bad relationships, that's why I would say they're not a struggle, they're a lesson learned. Because as you continue to grow and develop, you like, oh man, that bad relationship, you're able to identify at this point. So when you're dating or you're courting somebody or you're getting to know somebody, you know things like, hey, I know not to get married within a month no more. I know not to do certain things no more because that didn't work doing it my way, right?
That's right.
And so forth, right? And you just like, I had this woman, I'm just giving an example. Like I was in this relationship younger, and the relationship was bad because she made me feel like this, or I made her feel like that. So going forward, when I'm dating somebody, I'm getting to know somebody on a more intellectual level. I'm gonna look for those red flags, or I'm gonna look for those little signals or signs that like, hey, I can see this right here gonna be a problem, or I know where to put boundaries up at because of some of the things that I've been through. So you mature as an adult. So now I know to look for somebody who is more equally yoked with myself, or somebody who's willing to be a partner and work with me on some things that I made mistakes on in the past. Not somebody that's gonna come along and hound me or beat me further down about stuff that I may have made mistakes on in the past. I mean, that's just, I don't think that's going to help the situation, right?
Most
You have
definitely.
to just, just learn as you go, make better decisions.
That's most definitely the goal there for sure. I think that we can influence each other, but we won't change for each other.
No.
And I think this about relationships in general that I'm learning that there are going to be things about the other person we're dating that it's not going to always be what we accept. We have to find ways to work through, talk through, and process through things that happen that we may not like or agree, especially when people are working on themselves toward change versus they're stuck in the mistake and they won't change anything. That's totally different. But if I want to improve myself as a man or even she as a woman, we should have what they call grace to help mend the thing that they have never gotten right in the first place anyway, and they're at least trying to put forth effort. Right? That's a healing process that all of us have to find ways to accept because we want grace every time we wake up in the morning.
Mm.
Right?
I mean, with me, it was once I started to transform, once I started to get more into the word, I took a lot of time. This whole thing that happened gave me a lot of time to really think. And I had to stop and think about what was my role. What was my role? Hold on, baby. Hold on, baby. I had to turn around and stop and think what was my role in all this that happened. And in the process of doing that, it took me back to a long point of time frame from like I'm gonna say from 2012 to present. And it's like what I did, what was my role, what could I have done better, relationships I was in, basically stop trying to point the finger at them and say it was all them. But the individual had asked the question about why she had walked out. I mean, I know it's in the book, things for that nature. But I'm not gonna sit up here and say I didn't have some wrong in there. I'll be lying to you. I mean, I not by much now. I'm gonna be real with you, not by much, but I did play un poco or even the smallest amount. I did for us play a role. So it's not just all on any of these women I had dated, but like I said, it made me transform to be the man that I am. And I will say that I'm more proud of myself today than I ever been in my life. There was a movie that was real big in my life. It used to be back in the days, if I could meet anybody in the world, it would be Sidney Poitier and Morgan Freeman. I'm like, man, if I can meet anybody in this world, male wise, Sidney Poitier and Morgan Freeman. And as time went on, especially with this transformation of my life, if I could meet anybody, it'd probably be just one person, Denzel Washington. The movie Flight was the beginning of a transformation of breaking who I am. The movie Flight. And then the Book of Eli. I had finally sat down and watched the Book of Eli as long as this book has been out. There's been other things, other mentors and people, other circles, family members that was in my life. But like I say, I'm more proud of myself today than I've ever been. Example, men, you know this. Women do it too. I can put my phone down and walk away and not even care about it ringing. That used to be me. Ain't no freaking way in the world I'm leaving my phone. You know what I'm saying? Whatever reason. Basically looking over my back. I don't have a reason for looking over my back or anything for that nature. So I'm more proud of myself and my walk and my faith and where I am. I appreciate all those things that happened. I appreciate all those people that I had supported and been behind. And when it came time for me, everybody ostracized and stuck their head in dirt. I appreciate all that. I appreciate the individual that didn't even answer questions and stepped up when I was about to lose my child, lose my kids. They didn't ask no question. I got them. So you know what I'm saying? I appreciate the burden barriers, So I mean, this is all transform me. I don't hate anybody. I mean, I in the beginning I was mad. I like, yo, why nobody ain't where my crew at? Where everybody at for me? But then I come to understand the situation, and everybody built different. I'm the type of person, if I got you, man, I got you. I got you 100%. On a good day, bad day, broke leg, broke hand, whatever. You know what I'm saying? If I'm able to breathe and crawl, if I tell you I got you, I got you. I was expecting that back. And the Lord taught me that everybody ain't gonna be like that.
Yeah.
And for me to turn around and hold a grudge and want to turn around and go around and shotgun marriage everybody in the face, you know what I'm saying? I can't do that. You know, like I said, a lot of things I was humble. When I had to turn around, when I sat down and did a video about this book and where it was and what had hung, because initially, this was my Antoine Fisher story. You know what I'm saying? This is my Antoine Fisher story. When I heard about that brother and the book and you know and all that type of deal, I was like, wow, you know, I'm in the Navy, he in the Navy, that type of deal. And then as time for us went on, especially with this book, I'm like, you know what? There has to be somebody for us out there. What I come to realize when you listen to Dak, she said she want a real man, and you hearing all these other songs, all these other transformations of what's going on with men. It's like men are finally getting a platform on telling what they have been going on and what their feelings are. So a lot of little things, it's like, to me, God was like sending little tidbits to me to tell me, you know, it's okay to do this. To number one, get outside of my pride. I finally had got outside of my pride. I wrote this book, turned around and told people for us about it. Iron sharpen iron. It's not for a man or for a woman. It's for both. You know what I'm saying? It's for us, a man and a wife for us in marriage. It's about any and everything that somebody can turn around for us think of. This book got ups, downs, roller coasters. I don't believe this. You got to be kidding me. I do plan on holding a panel in the near future to really get down and answer some of the real hard, nasty, grimy, gritty, in your face
Your
for
name of
type
your book
questions.
again is what? When I look back?
Yes, sir.
Your name of your book again is When I Look Back?
When I look back.
It's available on Amazon. You guys check out this writing, you know, read this information, let it be embedded into your spirit and pass it on to someone else who can really grow and develop from getting the insight and the tools that were learned throughout this journey of living life. And we thank you for your work, Mr. Fields, for sure. There was another question in our chat box for us. It says, women often go into the wrong relationships thinking they can change a man. Now, that may be true as well in a lot of essence. Have you faced that, guys, before, that you felt that in some type of way that the woman was trying to change you into becoming someone that she wanted to be versus you already know who you are?
I did myself, but that relationship didn't last long. It didn't last long. After she came in trying to change me, where you sat at the table when you first do your little meet and greet, and you used to go over the things that you want, she want, and what you don't like, and she don't like. My big thing was I had grown kids. My big thing was I don't want no kids. She said, well, are you willing to marry again? I'm like, I mean, it's possible I'll be married, but I don't want no kids. That's a. And then later on in the relationship, she say, well, I want to have a baby, and she tries to have a baby. I said, no, we didn't discuss that. I'm out of here. So she tried to change me in that aspect. Nope.
Is that necessarily trying to change you or is trying to trap you? That's two different things. If she intentionally trying to get pregnant and you guys talked about it, you said no, I want a child, but she wants to get pregnant anyway.
Well,
that won't change you in any type of capacity.
Well,
it will cause you to become upset.
Her mindset would start saying, you want to have a baby, trying to change my mindset. And then at another instance, then she tried to trap you. So I guess it was two. But she tried to change me, which is bad. I said, no, I'm telling you, I don't want no kids. So we went on put a big X on that relationship.
Got you covered. Most definitely.
Yeah.
I don't think I've dated someone recently that tried to, I guess, manipulate that. I guess I don't even know if the mother of my children have done that. I think because men can do this. Men do this. Men are emotional. Women go off what they hear. Men go off what they experience in relationship. You know, so we'll say anything when we think that we want to woo the woman versus the woman hears, she takes it at face value.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So we have to find ways to watch what we say, especially when dating, even when married, that it comes out as genuine and not just something trying to manipulate the situation for our favor. Right. because we can be told a lot of times. I think someone put this in the chat box. How do you feel as a man to be told your wife doesn't respect you? Would you feel judged? Right? If your woman told you that she didn't respect you, would you feel judged if she said that?
Mm.
I would
That's
probably feel hurt.
that's ever happened.
That's
That's ever happened to any of y'all?
That she doesn't respect me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think when I was not faithful in the relationship, I heard it. I don't respect you.
So you opt don't respect either.
Mhm.
No, I didn't hear that. I haven't heard it say it like that. I don't respect you. I got disrespected,
Okay.
and that was a
But they never say that they didn't respect you as a man. Okay.
right. But that's a whole nother thing. So as men, we want to be respected. So you got to be respected. So when
True.
you get that disrespect, it's gonna open your eyes to a can of worms. Like, hold on, either something going on or I'm out of here. What's the reason? Why is the disrespect coming? You never disrespected. Why it's got to be something new? Why you disrespected?
True. And mine came from unfaithfulness, most definitely. Again, I didn't think that I should have married my ex-wife like I did in that season, and I did. So I didn't respect the relationship. So I was very disrespectful in not honoring the vows that we took because I felt this coercion, then this negative spirit just moved in on my mindset and my behaviors and my actions, and I stopped caring about the relationship, right? So I put it out there in the atmosphere, so it was easy for her to say that she didn't respect. I wasn't respecting the marriage in itself, right? So it didn't last long, right? So we ended up with this divorce, co-parenting, different houses, and the kids going back and forth. And I see my kids every week, 3 or 4 days a week here. She get them 3 or 4 days. So we have this 50-50 balance. So it's still an imbalance only because my kids are learning two different ways of being parented, right? And their behaviors illustrate that. It's hard to get them consistent after my 3 days, 4 days that with me, they get with her through, and they change because they finding how to respond to each house. That's been a task for me.
Right.
I want to let some of the listeners know, like in a divorce, when divorce comes, how you feel strongly about marriage and it just don't work out. Y'all separate for whatever our reasons you separate. Don't blame yourself. If they out, they just out. You can't blame yourself. Because I felt like a failure when I got divorced. I feel like I was a failure. So I'm like, failure. But you're not a failure. You can only do you. You can only do what you're supposed to do. You can't help somebody else if they not in it. If they not in it, then you just got to get over that. You got to get over
And
that
I agree 100%.
and go to the next chapter. Whatever chapter it is that's written out for you, you just got to go to, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, because I never felt like a failure. I mean, even I've been married twice, and my marriages didn't work. I just realized, like, hey, I did some things wrong in building the foundation, so I know what I need to do different, and so I'm not afraid to try again. Because like feeling like a failure, it'll hinder you from moving on.
It discourages you.
It'll hinder you from finding healing, and I think that's a whole part of accepting accountability, so you don't feel like a failure. Accepting accountability for what you did wrong is actually what men supposed to stand on. Like, yeah, I did that wrong, or yeah, it was something in that foundation. Yeah, maybe I should have dated her longer. Maybe I should have, you know what I'm saying? Maybe I should have wore protection. Maybe I should have, it's like those are things that you take on as a man. Like Carl saying, like you take on the responsibility for those mistakes you made, but at the same time, don't feel like a failure because like failures don't get up and brush themselves off and try it again.
Yeah.
Right. That's why you got a lot of people right now that's single because they had a bad relationship or two and they are afraid to love again. They are afraid to open their heart up again to love. And
That's it.
maybe it was just the wrong person. Maybe that wasn't your person. So
That's
take
it.
that lesson, take that little pat on the back, dust yourself off, get back out here and go get what you deserve. So I never felt like a failure. Even stuff that I don't succeed in now, I don't feel like a failure. I feel like maybe that wasn't my thing, or maybe I need to approach it different. But I you know what I'm saying? Like that's what I'm working on. So I wouldn't have achieved nothing that I achieved today if it was for me thinking like I failed at everything.
Now, what happens is sometimes people throw it in your face that they think you're a failure. Like the one, like my ex-wife, she would throw it in my face that you want somebody else raise your kids, try to make me feel guilty or something like that.
Right.
And to try to, I think someone put a question in the chat box that have any of you stay longer for the kids? And I almost stayed for the kids' sake versus my sake.
The thing about that is the crazy thing about that is weird, but you got to look at it from this perspective. If you just stay for the kids and the arguments and the fight and the bad energy, because you can tell when two adults got bad energy with each other in the same room. It's like you can see the electricity almost, right? So
Yeah.
the kids are seeing, and that's a part of what my book is about, right? Is the kids have their own perspective of seeing their parents not harmonized in the same room. So you think that that's healthy too? Or do you think it's healthy that you guys separate? You go your way, she go your way, but they're able to see you both happy separately. I think that's more healthier versus you trying to stick it in, but the fighting is still. It's getting worse if you think about it. You're trying to stick it in for the wrong reason. Because the thing about it, those kids gonna grow up and get in relationships and move on with their life, and they gonna you gonna they do it when they're in their teenagers, and they you know what I'm saying, they get their own little life, they get their own little thing going, and it's like, what do? You still over here single, holding on to hurt or holding on to feeling like you failed or feel like, oh, this person did this to me. No, it's so many people out here in this world. And it's definitely love. Love conquers all, and that's what I wanted
Yeah,
to
it
say
does.
earlier. We were talking about change. If a person really love you, yes, they will change. They'll take accountability. They'll look at themselves. If I really want this person in my life, I love this person. It's some things about me I might need to reevaluate. And
Mm.
it's even better when that person comes into your life and be like, you know what, babe, I want to work with you on the. That's love, and that's change.
I felt like a failure. I gotta say this though. I felt like a failure in God's eyes because of the vows. Like when he said sickness and health, death do you part.
That part, I was saying, yeah.
That's why I felt like a failure. Like, dang God, you look at me like this is a failure. I didn't make it. I was supposed to get a divorce. What I supposed to do? Because now I feel like a failure. Because me coming up, I think when you get married, you're supposed to get married one time. That's it.
You supposed to. I heard that. Yeah.
Why I felt like a failure.
Sometimes we leading
Yeah,
it. We're leading the search, and we're not letting God search through us. So
So I,
yeah.
I have a question though for Mr. Motivator. How did you overcome that, or have you overcome that?
You know, I prayed about it. I asked for forgiveness. You know, I asked forgiveness. Um, and I went to counseling over it. You know, and I didn't just sit back in that rocking chair and rocking and waiting on, her to come back or nothing like that. And
No, you didn't.
Do you believe God is holding you to that standard?
yeah, what'd you say?
Do you believe God is holding you to that standard?
I,
No.
I thought he did at first, but
So you don't think that anymore?
yeah. So he was like, it's okay. So then after I knew it was okay, then I just, I went on with my life.
So
the
you didn't
standard
fail.
with that person.
You didn't fail.
The standard is always there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. The goal is, I think, as we're choosing mates in the future, that we are making sure that we know who we are, and we look in the mirror and knowing that we have done the work on ourselves, become the men that we need to be, so that as we bring this person in to help us co-parent these children, or to help uh, us interact with the family that we have and interact with their family, that we have what they call balance. And what balance gives us, that we begin to look at things from holistic points of view, and it's a intertwining of two lives. And I talk to families even today about how, again, someone said earlier, how this outside noise came in to interrupt this marriage. We have to know that this marriage is about us. Family is important, but they don't dictate the relationship, the direction of the relationship, right? They have their voices because they're part of who you are as a family, but they're not in the house deciding things about how the marriage functions, especially if it's functioning in a healthy way. If it's dysfunctional, you probably shouldn't have been together in the first place. But yet it's still, but if it's functional, the outside noise needs to be out here. You need to deal with it as a couple in a healthy way. And it only works that way when you're married. If you're dating, it's no commitment. It's
Doc,
just not until you
Doc, let me
get
tell you,
married.
Doc, let me tell you what I don't like.
What?
I don't like when we get into these relationships and people put on this facade, bro. Like, I've been in relationships where in like the early months of dating, it's like they put on this character of the light, like, you know what I'm saying? And then it's like later down, once you done invested or you done made decisions or you done had a child or whatever, it's like the truth come out, right? And it'd be like, man, you know what I'm saying? And it's like, bro, like, you know what I'm saying? It's just crazy because it's like, how do you see? We talked about red flags, like ignoring the red flags or whatever. But what if sometimes it's like, you know what I'm saying? It be this mask that be on, and then it's like once you know what I'm saying? Like once you're persuaded or whatnot, and then this mask come off, but it's like after the fact. It's like, how do you? I guess you kind of like.
You mean like it's too late?
I mean, that's what happened with me. That's what happened with me.
You know what I'm
It
saying?
was,
I'm not trying to look. I'm not trying to not accept accountability, bro. But it's some pretty slick ones out here, bro.
yeah.
It's some real slick ones.
Hey,
Like
look.
if you a man, you got something going for yourself. You have decent looking. It's like, bro, they will put on the skates, bro.
Yeah.
And like do whatever they gotta do to persuade you, to get your attention, to whoop de whoop. And it's like, man, then it's like you thinking it's all good, and then it's really, you know what I'm saying, they had a whole different motive, or they had this intention, this secret intention that they was working with. And then it's like, but you caught up, you know what I'm saying? And you was really just trying to be a cool dude, but then it's like now you got this responsibility that you ain't even asked for because of this woman had this her own little intentions because she thought she had these expectations or these standards that she created in her own mind that you're supposed to fit into, and it becomes this whole thing. Oh, it's the man's fault,
Bruh.
They got
That's
they got their
let's talk to both sides though. I know this is a man's panel, but I'm not the one. I'm not perfect at all, but at the same time, I've been in some situations, bro. I just felt like, man, that wasn't fair right now. I realized what they did or something like that. Then it's like, oh, but they point the finger. Oh, you know what I'm saying? Women cry out, and everybody just want to run and console them, and don't even know what the truth is, or even care to know what both sides is. But the man is the one who's tore down. His image is broken, and he has to find some type of way to heal. And it's like nobody cares though. Everybody
bruh. I was
just be a man. Just
I
be
hear
a
an
man.
echo on
It's
the
like
mic.
I
Can
get
you,
tired
can
of
you
hearing
mute
this
the
shit
mic
because
until
it's
you
like
speak?
who defines the standard of the type of man that I'm supposed to be?
I heard
My
an echo.
story, my journey is not yours. The man that you meant to be, might not be. Is a whole different. I'm over here in a whole different part of the jungle. Where I got to be a different type of man. But it don't take from me being a man, period. And then you got women out here that just don't respect men, period, because they got a vendetta with their own dad or whatever, or you're not meeting the standards of their dad, so they don't respect you, bro. It's like we need to learn how to take our power back and start telling them no, and all this other stuff too, because it's like at the end of the day, bro, it ain't balancing.
Agreed there 100%. I think that, and I want you guys to comment. I think somebody was trying to comment earlier what he was trying to say. Anyone had a comment on what he was saying in reference to that imbalance that happens in that relationship process?
question. What happens when you find out that the mama or the woman you're trying to be with is off as well. What happened when you go in knowing that the mama is off, but you like, you know what? Everybody got their own little chance to do their own little thing. Everybody got a chance, and then they turn around and be the fruit don't fall too far from the tree.
Right. They got their own little mental issues and background and stuff that they don't even realize they got issues with. But they wanna do this. They wanna be in a relationship. They wanna jump relationship. They ain't healed themselves neither. And they just, bro, it ain't balanced either. But at the same time, I just don't feel like it's always the man's fault. We already get tore down enough about other stuff. But we got to sit here and be the providers and do all of this, go out here and break our backs. But then time something go wrong emotionally or relationship wise, dang, we failed at that too. It's like, God damn.
I'm up here. I have my kids. I have to get phone calls.
Still ain't good enough, is it?
Hold on. I get phone calls that the mama come through, and I came through the spot, and everybody like, oh, he bullied, he took him. How the crap I'm gonna be that bold and take him? You know what I'm saying? When I got legal documentation, I don't get no type of freaking like, hey man, let's gather around you and lift you up, and I ain't get none of that. But then when I left the spot, I got a phone call saying, oh, she came through and everybody gathered around her.
Everybody rallied around her.
Everybody gathered around her. But yet me, all the way until about what? Shoot, all the way to about 3 months ago. 3 months ago, the stuff is over with. I'm still getting told I took them. You took them kids. You took them kids. What? You took them kids. Nobody can console around me. It's like nobody can console around me. God and I had to navigate this thing. God had to work through me for us to navigate this thing, to turn around and for example, when I decided to go back to church and I had the kids, it was like spirits was coming through the wall, bro. Faces was coming through the walls, and they were whispering what was gonna be said. And I'm like, well, you know what? Maybe it's all in my head. I'll be darned. The same thing as I was walking through with the stroller with both my kids, the stuff that I was thinking that people was gonna say, they said.
Yeah, and it's crazy because from a perspective, I produced a lot of men empowerment events, so I hear a lot of men come to me and talk, and I thank God for it. And a lot of times I hear guys say like, "Man, it's like I want to see my kid. I want to spend time with my kid, but I don't want to deal with her mouth. I don't want to deal with her emotionally tearing me down. I don't want to revisit knowing that she's a bitter woman at this point and she does anything to be vindictive towards me. I don't want to walk back into that energy." So it's like, sadly as it, and I'm not saying it's right, but sadly a lot of times the kids do get wrapped up into that warp of the parents' bad energy, right? The man trying to protect his piece, she trying to protect whatever piece she got where in her mind or whatever. And it's like, how do we all just find this invisible balance with sexuality and all this different type of emotional crap?
Hold on, look, I still want to go back to, like I said, one of my red flags was when I saw the tree, the tree that was bearing the fruit. What do you do when you see the tree that bears the fruit and, you know what I'm saying, to get passed down? We're supposed to be in a forgiveness world, right? We're supposed to be forgive, right? We're supposed to keep forgiving 7 times, right? We're supposed to overlook that, right? We all want forgiveness. Forgive. What when you know about the tree?
You know that healing takes your efforts. The other person, they have their efforts. I think that when you're dealing with, go back to Mr. Hughes talking about this dating aspect. I think when you're dating, I don't have a commitment to pay your bills. When I'm dating you, I don't have a commitment to be there for your plumbing and stuff like that. I may do that because I can maybe come fix it, but it's not something I'm not obligated yet. When we get married, I'm obligated. If I do it while we're dating, they're gonna probably always be what they call unrealistic expectation. Probably. Only because it's done with this sense of connection, something connected to it. And if we don't set some, I guess, parameters, I told someone, I think with that, I said, I don't pay car notes, dating. I just don't pay car notes. You can't help out. I said, I got my own car notes. How you pay a car note before you met me, But if I set the boundary, then I'll have my expectation, they have theirs. And just because I don't want to pay your car note, don't mean I don't want to be with you. That's something they have to decide. As long as I know what my boundaries are, I will probably not allow them to cross that boundary. But I have to maintain the boundary that I set for myself, as well as something that I want them to respect. I have to put it out there in the atmosphere. What do you guys think about that? And we're also
I feel like, hey, just because I don't do those things or meet your don't that doesn't mean that you should belittle me as a man because I don't want to pay the shit because I don't want to pay you the bills that you that don't make me less than a man.
I think it's disrespectful. That's disrespectful.
I think it's manipulation.
For me, you don't want me to pay your car note. I said you paying it before you met me.
No, I'm your dude now. I'll give you something on it. I'll help you out. You get a little squeeze now. Dude, come to me, but
it depends on how. It's just like Miss Dr. Wade said. How long you been with this person? Like, if I'm just paying you just now, courting you, I'm not paying your car note now. That's unrealistic.
But that's why some of them get with men, though. That's why some of them vet men out. I need somebody to help me pay my. I need a man to help do this, do that.
And if that's what we want to do, that's what we want to do. That's okay. But I'm saying if it's draining something out of us, and I don't mind investing in the relationship. I'm not saying that when it's an expectation that's unrealistic, that creates more conflict. I think that's the aspect of it. And they may be a single mom. Here I am, a single dad, co-parenting. Now, what I tell my ex-wife, we're co-parenting. Well, you're not single parent, we're co-parenting because I have them just as much as you got, right? And I'm investing in their lives just as much you're investing in them. So I have these obligations as well in my life. Not that the other person has more obligations than I do. And I think that's where the conversation has to be held as you're talking about dating and getting married and possibly blending these families. What does that look like?
Yeah. And again, it just depends, though. It depends on the chemistry of what y'all bringing to the table. You know what I'm saying? But it's like the ideal person is, for me, it would be somebody coming. Hey, look, this is what we got. Look, and I'm here to help you. But we're partners. It ain't. Just
partners get married though. That we're looking at.
I mean, well, yeah. But even still, when you have a girlfriend or boyfriend, I mean, you still looking out for each other. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you ain't gonna let it. I mean,
I'm going back to being a giraffe. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
I'm going back. I don't want the low hang. I'm not trying to say I was picking the low hanging fruit. But I'm going back to being a giraffe. Hey, look, I ain't saying your full tree got to be fully grown, but if some of your branches messed up, then okay, your branches messed up. But if the whole tree got there messed up, then I'm out. You know what I'm saying? I'm going back to picking the high fruit. I'm going to pick the fruit, the leaves that do hit first thing in the morning. They're the ones I'm gonna go pick. Like I said, I'm going back to being a giraffe. The giraffe don't shit down. My neck too long. I can't be going down there trying to figure out what's a begonia, what's a azalea, you know what I'm saying? Fescue, the Ride 21. I ain't got no time for all that. St. Augustine, I'm going back picking the high fruit. If your tree is messed up, I'm gonna take it for what it's worth. Your tree is messed up. I ain't dealing with you. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna be cool. We'll be friends. I go skate with you. I kick it with you. Besides that, that's a wrap. If I'm looking at for is your fruit, your tree, that's a wrap. Your branches can be messed up because we all got fault. But if your full tree, no. And then after looking at the tree, I'm looking at for its boundaries.
Right.
And then are you God, tree, fruit, boundaries, draft, leaves, dude? That's where I'm at right now. Amen. You know what I'm saying? I've had a lot to think about, and I'm not a little rushed. I'm gonna say it like this. I tell people, I'm not Will Chamberlain, but I'm 0 on 100. All right. I'm 0 on 100, obviously, because I'm not with nobody. You know what I'm saying? Right. So I'm 0 on 100. So I need to check out what's wrong before it's me.
his whole
Mhm.
perspective is different now. You're a single dad, so it's like even for you to date, you gotta look at that in a woman. Okay, what type of
Exactly.
woman it is I'm bringing around my. It's like it's a whole different perspective right for you dating now. That's real. That's serious.
Exactly. Like I told somebody, it's like I got honestly, it's like I got the best of both worlds. I'm a single dad with custody of four of my kids. I had to be very selective of who I have for my kids around, who I let my kids for involved with. I got to know what they're trying to do. What are their goals? What are their aspirations? What are their beliefs? I can't have my kids just around on anybody. Back in the
Absolutely.
days, I get it. I remember when I used to mess with people like that, and that's what they thought, and I didn't get it. But now that I have kids, I get where that woman's coming from. Any woman that's watching, I applaud you. I applaud you 100%. You know what I'm saying? I look at things totally different. I remember one time I was watching Waiting to Exhale. And I'm like, man, that man ain't finna leave you. I'm like, man, what's wrong with me? You know what I'm saying? Like, what the heck is going on? But
Right.
that's just what things are. And then you gotta turn around and take in today's society, women are more force aggressive. Women throwing game. I told her, I said, look here, you had some real good game. Like Mr. You said, I like you had some real good game. I say I get it. I know I was schooling you on some things, but I mean you had your own for the agenda, the whole now, blah 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 blah. But like I said, just I look at things totally for us different now, totally different.
And
As
I
I've
think
been
I
as
think
I've
that we
been told,
should.
I'm mama bear and papa bear at the same time.
I think that we should look at things different as we get older, we get more mature in this process. We've been on the Stephanie M season show tonight talking about my brother's keeper. And most definitely, we thank you for tuning in with us and putting things in the chat box. And we want you to join us every fourth Sunday at 7 o'clock p.m. We're gonna be talking about men issues, men concerns. Invite your friend, guys out, husbands, boyfriend, nephews, sons, cousins, dads. Invite them out to be a part of the show. We want to get more input on what's going on in their lives. So we look at things from holistic points of view. We're always talking about solutions, although we're looking at the problem. The problem has to be put on the table so we can begin to dissect it, look at it from different angles, find people to help us pull through this situation and find the right mentors to help lead us to the next level of living life, because that's what we need. We need that push to get us to our next level. Before we get out of here tonight, we know we had some great conversation tonight. What can we leave our audience in reference to tools that will help us throughout our week when we are making tough decisions as men? What are some tools that we can apply this week when making tough decisions as men today?
Proverbs. Read the book of Proverbs.
Proverbs, the whole chapter of Proverbs, the whole book of Proverbs, rather. So
The
from
whole
chapter
thing.
1 all the way through 31, right? Okay, good deal. Read the whole book of Proverbs. That's one tool. How is that going to help us in a nutshell? How does that help us men to reshape thought process?
Well, with me, it just gave me a whole new insight. I was told to read the book of Proverbs by a very smart individual. Maybe I don't know, 4 years ago, and I didn't. And I will make sure that my kids sit with me and we read the book of Proverbs when they get older and as they for us going in life. We will sit down because there's a lot of things inside that book of Proverbs. The issues of the heart. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of things that I've grasped and I'm looking at my situation. I'm like, darn, if I would have read the book of Proverbs and I'm telling where I probably would have was been at.
Right.
I read some of it, but I'm talking about like the whole book. So I mean, things would be for us a whole lot different. I've been able to move a whole lot different, a whole lot earlier, but I don't have any regrets or anything for us that nature.
Got you
I
covered.
think I think if everybody read the Bible for themselves instead of being fed scriptures handpicked, if you read the Bible for yourself, I think it'll bring a lot of enlightenment to a lot of people. Even though I know it's been translated and manipulated a little bit, but I think what I'm saying, a lot of people just, if you just take the time out to read full chapters instead of just depicted verses, it'll
Mhm.
change a lot of people's lives. And I just think what it'll do is I think it'll bring back the basics. It'll bring back the foundation. I think because I've actually met a lot of men who do all of the things of all of the things, and they're still not respected as a man, right? So I just think back, I just think and just, you know what I'm saying, just being more mindful and more conscious and more men just need to think more, you know what I'm saying, instead of just being such physical creatures. We need to start really just crossing over to that more intellectual mindset of what we're getting ourselves into, and does it align with our goals? Because if we're supposed to be the head and we're supposed to be this and do that, we have to have a clear understanding of what it is that we're wanting for our life, and that woman's supposed to add to that. A woman that's supposed to come into your life and take away from you or make your life stressful and depressed and all of these other things, belittling your character, making you look less than a man. No. You know what I'm saying? So just being more mindful of what we're getting ourselves into when we're dating and spending money and doing all these things with these women that we like for mainly their physical attraction. Just,
Okay. Good
just,
deal.
just being more intellectual with what we're
All
doing.
right. What about you? You two gentlemen, Mr. Robbins, Mr. Mason? What can we give men to kind of take with them?
I think to pray, stay strong with yourself, stay positive. Know that you can do it. Do the best that you can do. Be you. Have your faith that you got within you. Stand up for yourself. Always stand up for yourself. Look at yourself in the mirror and say you can do it. Every day is different.
Every day is different.
So make that next day the better day. When you can walk out them doors, you talk to yourself. It's okay to talk to yourself. Don't answer yourself back.
Gotcha. Okay. Mr. Mason, Dr. Mason?
Well, one thing I could think of is Jesus made a statement. He said, if your eye be single, your whole body is filled with light. So if we look at that esoterically, metaphorically, I would say to brethren that stay focused, because what you focus on the longest will become the strongest in your life. Another way of saying that is where your focus goes is where your energy flows. So if you've singled in on who you are and you focused on that, that's the energy that's going to build in you. Whatever energy you are is what energy you will attract.
Okay, I like that. And I'll leave you with this, that every day is a new day to start over. You don't have to bring yesterday into your new opportunity, because this is a new day for new opportunities to do something different. Yesterday is done. It's over with. It's in the history book. Let's build on today. We can't undo it. We can't unchange it. But I can do something new today. Stay in a new mindset. Matter of fact, God wants to do a new thing in us every day. His mercies are renewed every day. So I want to get in the newness of my day versus the old patterns of my yesterday. So remember that it's all right to surrender. It's okay also to trust other men through your journey. So stay vulnerable and allow yourself to be led in a healthy way. I appreciate you guys joining us tonight, talking with us, participating, sharing your thoughts, ideas. This has been a episode of the Stephanie M. Seaton Sunday edition of My Brother's Keepers. We're here every fourth Sunday at 7 p.m. We're talking about many issues, talking about growing, talking about developing, changing, talking about impacting other people's lives with some type of seeds to help them to grow into a healthier them. And we thank you for joining us tonight. We're going to sign off tonight, but not forever. We'll be back in 4 weeks with the same topic, with a different topic, same type of format. We welcome you to come back and join us and be a part of this outstanding opportunity to touch men's life. And nothing else, we just want to say a quick word of prayer before we get out of here and ask you guys to have a great afternoon. Father God in heaven, we thank you for your word, your appreciate your presence of these men. We thank you for the audience, Lord God. We pray that the word go out into the airways and touch hearts and lives and transform men and women into healthier people that want to serve and surrender to you. We thank you for all things. In Jesus' name, we praise and we thank you. Amen and amen. You guys have a great rest of your Sunday evening. We catch you in 4 weeks for this show, My Brother's Keepers. Have a great day.
Thank you.